This is, oh my god, I keep on hurting myself with these books. The chokehold it had on me when it came out. It's always something. It's always something. Hello everyone, so I just wanted to pop in here to give you a little April rundown with some statistics. We read 3 thrillers, 2 romances, and 1 was young adult book, and 1 fantasy this April. And then looking back at our April TBR, we read 2 out of 8 of those books, which is only 25%, but that's okay. We're going to try again in May. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to our April reading wrap-up. I read 6 books this month, which is okay for me. I feel like I kind of slowed down in reading because just things got so busy, but I still read some really good books that I'm super excited to talk to you about. We have a lot of thrillers actually. We have 2 new authors and a series. We got a lot to talk about. Starting off, Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. I ended up giving this book a 4 stars. This book, I don't know why, but the chokehold it had on me when it came out, I just could not stop thinking about this book. It was on the book of the month pick, and I picked another book instead of this one, and just like for a week after that, I was like, I need to read this. I was just like so obsessed with reading this that I had to go pick it up. I read it all in a couple of days. It is a very fast-paced thriller. It's pretty short. It's only like 300-ish pages, and it's also told in half podcast format, which is something that I really like in thrillers because I like listening to thrillers in audiobooks. So I half read and half listened to this in an audiobook. The parts of the book that were like this, they had like a, what's this called? Not script, but they had like a, I don't know what the word is. What the heck is that called? I want to say manuscript, but I feel like that's wrong. You know what I mean. But when it was the podcast part, I listened to it on audiobook. I said this with when I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell as well. I feel like when it's in a podcast, like the audiobooks make it so cool. Like you're literally listening to the podcast. Like it makes you so much more engrossed in the story. So that's what I did in this, and I highly recommend that. And it is basically about this guy is doing a podcast on a very like fishy murder. So Lucy and Savvy were best friends, and Savvy died mysteriously one night, and everyone thinks that Lucy did it because there's a lot of evidence against her. But Lucy literally cannot remember any of it, any of the night at all. She is like, maybe I did it, maybe I didn't, like I don't know. And that's really eating her up inside, but because it's eating her up inside and everyone sort of like judges her for it, she makes a lot of jokes about it, which was okay at some points, but it got kind of annoying because she did it all the time where she was just so sarcastic and made so many jokes, and I get it was a defense mechanism for this character, but it just got a little bit annoying at some points. Throughout the podcast, you like figure out more of what happened to the night as the podcaster talks to different people that were involved in this, and then it's also in Lucy's point of view of her just like trying to deal with the fact that she doesn't know what happened to her best friend. Definitely caught me by surprise. I think I only figured it out maybe like a chapter before the big reveal happened. It was a really good thriller for that because it took me by surprise, and it was so engrossing and it was so addicting, and I do highly recommend this book. And if you do, listen to the audiobook version as well because it just adds so much to it. And then next we have a 5-star. I don't know if I'm just reading really good books or if I'm just like a really easy rater, because I feel like I've been just rating books so highly lately. But that is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This was in my finishing my TBR series edition. I am so happy that I read this. This is the 2nd book in the Caraval series. It is the prequel trilogy to the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, and it was so addicting, so good. I have all my little quotes. I think I definitely liked it a lot more than I liked Caraval because this is in a different point of view. You could hear like my full review in that video, but this was in a different point of view than the first book, and I feel like we got a lot more in this point of view. It didn't feel like it was like a fever dream, which is one thing that I had like an issue with in the first book because it was just confusing at some points. Because of the point of view that we're in, I feel like there's more of a romance element, which I really liked, and things seem more real than they did in Caraval. So I really liked this book. You're still in the world of Caraval, it's still like the game, but there's also like a lot more that happens in this book and happens like outside of the game things that are revealed and everything like that. And also we get introduced to a very popular character in Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I know because I've just heard people talk about this character so much, and we get introduced to them in this book. Stephanie Garber has such an immersive imagery style of writing. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it's just like I can fully picture everything that she's describing, and the way that she describes things are just so vivid. I'm so excited to finish this trilogy, to get into Once Upon a Broken Heart. Definitely recommend this whole Cannibal trilogy. Even like the second book was definitely my favorite. Like I said, I was in like a little bit of a thriller mood. So the next book we read is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This is a book of the month pick that I've had since October, and I don't know why I was just itching to read it lately. I've been avoiding it, and then like just randomly I really wanted to read it, and I ended up giving it a 4.5 stars. I love different elements that the author added to this book. She has little footnotes at the bottom for like more description, which some people find annoying, but I think is just really cool and more immersive. And she also has images, and I love when books have like pictures in it to help you envision the scene. Just the little details I feel like that the author includes in this just made it so much better. Just those little details I really appreciate in a book, and this one had a lot of that, so I really liked that. It was a little bit slow going, I feel like, so I listened to the audiobook of this one when it got at the slower points. I really liked the turn that this story took. Basically, I can tell you what it's about. Opal, she starts having these dreams of Starling House, which is this like creepy house on their street that everyone knows about, everyone avoids. Just like there's like weird myths surrounding Starling House. And then Opal suddenly has like dreams about it. Her favorite book as a child was written by Eleanor, I think it was, Starling, and that was like the original owner of Starling House. And there's like just mystery surrounding her life. So Opal also has that connection to the house. She becomes the housekeeper for the current resident of Starling House, who is predictably prickly, grumpy, creepy, and they also say that he's ugly a lot, and it's just like a weird guy. That is like the current resident of Starling House, and Opal becomes the housekeeper, and she just starts discovering like weird things in the house. He has like a random sword and wants to like avoid like certain areas of the house. It's just like all these weird type of things that you figure out is a whole lot bigger. It reminds me of a very popular TV show on Netflix that I am waiting for the 5th season so bad. I'm not gonna say what it is, but if you know, you know. That is what this reminds me of. A very good read, and I recommend it. But again, slow at some parts, so the audiobook definitely helped with that. We read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is her first young adult book. It's a new release, and it's my first Ali Hazelwood book. I ended up giving it a 4 stars. I completely get what people say about loving Ali Hazelwood's writing. It's just a very conversational way of writing. I did write in my notes that Mallory, like the main character, got a little bit annoying during, as another character in here, Oz put it, like her mopey phase. It was like frustrating in the moment because I was just like, she was being annoying and moping about things for way longer than she should have, in my opinion. But I also get, like, you know, she's young. It's a young adult book. There has to be that, like, character development throughout the book, so I get that. But I really liked it, and I can't wait to read more Ali Hazelwood books. So this is basically about Mallory and Nolan. Mallory used to be a very gifted chess player as a child, and then she got out of it. She thinks that it caused her family to break up. Then there's Nolan, who is the current best chess player in the world. Mallory plays him and beats him just randomly one time, and people are like, who is this nobody that just beat the best chess player in the world for years running in one game? Like, who did this? Mallory gets recruited by like a chess, it's I guess like a chess company, and basically her job is learning how to play chess and playing in chess tournaments, and she has like a weird relationship with chess because of how she feels like it affected her family. It's like she's doing it for the money because she's struggling financially, but she also is like getting back into it and is liking it but feels guilty about liking it. And then, you know, Nolan, of course, is just like a nice guy, and you know, he takes an interest in her, and that story develops from there. I really liked their story. I really loved their relationship build up. Like I said, just some things that, like, I knew it was a young adult book, so like young adult books have some elements that adult books don't because it's a young adult book that sort of irritate me sometimes, but I did overall really like this book. And I love Ali Hazelwood's writing, and I cannot wait to read another one of her books. Actually, I am reading another one of her books. I'm reading Bride right now, so that's fun. Next book I read is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This is, oh my god, I keep on hurting myself with these books. This is another new release. Alex Michaelides is the author of The Silent Patient. Kind of like that book, but it had like a trope in it that I didn't really like about it. This one didn't, and I ended up giving it like a 3.75 stars. Lucas had to use a litter box, so we're gonna have to pause. We're back. So we were talking about The Fury by Alex Michaelides. It's another one that I recommend listening to in an audiobook. I just generally love thrillers and audiobooks, but this one was really interesting because the way that it was told and written was like you were being told a story. The person who's narrating it he was going to be telling you a story like at a bar. So he says things like, you must be judging me for this, but so and so. And then, I must warn you, what follows is at times hard to take. It's certainly hard to write about. Once again, I must turn back the clock. Such a storytelling type book, which I really, really, really liked. I don't think I've read hardly any books that have that sort of element to it, and listening to it in an audiobook was just perfect because he was literally telling you the story. So basically, you know, there's something that really bad that happened on an island, but you don't know like what it is, but you find out as the story goes along. And of course, because it's a thriller and it's an Alex Michaelides book, there is a twist at the end, which I really enjoyed. The way that Alex Michaelides writes is, at least in this book, is he sort of like lets you in on something where you think like, oh, like I knew that was gonna happen type thing, but then it's sort of like a red herring to distract you from the actual huge twist, which I loved about this book. It just made it so much more shocking and immersive, just more real in a way. It also has some really good quotes that I underlined that are just like life quotes. I just turned to one that says, I have a pet theory that everyone in life corresponds to one of the characters in The Wizard of Oz. And it goes on to like describe how that is. Interesting little takes that I really liked in this book. Finally, our last book is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is my first Abby Jimenez book. I think I'm gonna give it a solid 4.5 stars. Such a good story. I have so many little tabs and underlines. The reason why it's not a 5-star is the miscommunication. I just did not like. I feel like it dragged on for way longer than it would have if the characters who were adults would have just talked. That just dragged for me. But I did really like the couple in this book, Brianna and Jacob. They're both doctors and they start by writing letters to each other, which is so cute. Jacob actually has really bad social anxiety, so he comes off as aloof and rude at first, but then as Brianna gets to know him through his letters and everything like that, she realizes that he has social anxiety and that this is just his ways of coping with things he like really struggles with. It's very therapy positive, very journaling positive, and like mental health positive. I actually read that Abby Jimenez wrote this book as like sort of like a self-reflection because she struggled with, I think it was like kidney issues or like kidney cancer, something like that. She went into a depression, the author, so she took a lot of inspiration from like that life experience, and this helped her heal from that. The way that's written is so mental health positive and mental health aware, and the way that Brianna just takes care to make sure that Jacob is comfortable in social settings and the little games they play, like if he needs a break or something like that. It's very cute. But yeah, really liked this book. Cannot wait to read more Abby Jimenez books. Those are all the books that I ended up reading in April. Pretty good reading month. I didn't read a lot of books, but I read some really good books, which I'm very thankful for. Those are the books I read. I feel like we had a good range and introduced me to some new authors, got to finish a series or get further in a series, and I am super excited for my May TBR. That video should be out by now if you haven't seen it, so if you have not seen it, then go check that one out because I am super excited about our May reading month. That is gonna be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!